Oh yeah, we back with another episode on the Twisted T2, baby. Where we like to read these Reddits to you. And well, we gonna dive right in. We won't waste no time. But we do have a person that went out and said they want to know if they were the A for yelling at their taxi driver. Now, look, before we get into this, I will say, anytime that you let your emotions get the best of you, well, it's not gonna work out too well. So, here we are. A 22-year-old female and 3 other friends from her university, Emma, Celine, Jesslyn, all in that same age range, went to an amusement park together. They decided to take a taxi back afterwards and went to the taxi stand to get one. A taxi arrived and Jesslyn walked over to the front passenger seat while the other 3 of us slid in from the side, the driver's side, the right side, as our country is a right-handed drive. We had a few bags, so it took some time. Once Jocelyn got in and shut the front passenger door, the driver started to prepare to leave and move forward, maybe about 20 to 30 centimeters. That's like a right, like a just kind of press on. Oh wait, hit the brake. However, Celine had 1 foot in the taxi and 1 foot out the taxi, and I hadn't even gotten in yet. Oh, so you was actually completely safe since you was on the side. Celine screamed when the taxi moved and the driver stopped, turned, and said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you guys hadn't all gotten on. I wasn't paying attention," or something to that extent. So you don't know the exact words verbatim of what the driver said. I shouted at the driver, saying it was irresponsible of him to drive off when all of us hadn't gotten in. That Celine could have gotten injured, and that I would never get in such a dangerous driver's taxi. Celine told me, stop it and get in. But I said that I don't want to risk a road accident because the driver doesn't pay attention. The security guard came over and apologized, told us to get out, then asked the driver to leave and ushered us to another taxi. On the way back, Celine and Emma were telling me that I should have just gotten in the taxi because it was a genuine mistake and Celine wasn't injured anyway. That I was just being mean for shouting at the taxi driver and wasting his time. And that we could all have had a laugh about that funny incident later. I said it wouldn't have been funny if we all died in a car crash. And no one said anything. Am I the A? Alright, well, you and your 3 other friends. So Celine was the one that had that foot out the door just being dragged. Not very long. She only got dragged for like 2 seconds. Alright? She got her shoe scuffed. Okay? Let's be clear. The shoe got scuffed inside of this. No one was injured. So, taxi driver. Well, you know, in my honest opinion, I feel like, yeah, you are the A. Just a little bit. And the reason why you're the A just a little bit is because the person that was hurt and another one of your friends, they didn't make a big deal. The person that was actually being hurt inside of this was kind of like, all right, let me get my foot together and get back in the car. Okay? You made a scene outside of there, which now stopped everything else and other people, not just your friends, but other people from being able to do what they needed to do, as they probably filmed your dumb ass on there. Okay? They were like, look at her, and just filmed it. So with that, yes. Now, if the person made a genuine mistake and they apologized for it, listen, people do that. That type of stuff happens. And am I saying it should happen? No. Am I saying that the driver should pay more attention? Yeah, 100%. But, you know, they have apps out there too. So, you know, I know you got into a taxi and was at that taxi stand, but you could have Ubered, right? You don't feel like, I mean, again, these poor taxi drivers. The actual old school taxi drivers have gone through it because most of their business has been swiped away with people on their phones, right? So, this poor taxi driver probably doesn't get much anyway. Now, I'm going to go out there and see what other people have to say. But if you're asking me, my honest opinion is you could control your emotions and you chose not to. I get it if you wanted to be defensive for your friend and you wanted to make sure that, your friend was okay. But to get into hypotheticals of what could happen, oh, well, we could get into an accident because he could this, or we could do that. Look, you could have gotten into an accident with anybody else driving. You could have been driving and gotten into an accident, right? So for that to be your reason and your hypothetical, I understand safety first. But for you to continue going on and belittling this person after they apologize makes you an asshole. Now, if you would have just said, hey, listen, we're not getting into this because I wasn't a fan at what just happened, and we're going to step out and you can go on about your way and your day, bye, then I would have been like, look, that's just you standing up for your friends and yourself, and I understand that. But when you continue to push the button, it creates more, and that's what makes you the asshole in the situation. Not that you chose to stand up, and not that you was trying to be safety first, but the fact that you wanted to belittle the driver after that. Okay? I hope you understand that. Now, let's see what some of these other people had to say. As the first person wrote, not the A, but not yelling again after someone has already apologized and admitted fault. But it's better not to yell after someone's done that. Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying she's the A, all right? Because after someone admits fault, you got to learn to be the bigger person and just say, okay, it is what it is after that. We'll keep it moving. You're the ass. Thank you for yelling at him. You don't feel safe to ride in the taxi? Okay, we get it. Just get out and take another one. You're shouting out, and making an unnecessary scene when the person that was actually at risk told you to drop it, and you should have done that. Makes sense. Not the A. He drove off while someone was half inside the car. That's not a tiny mistake. That's dangerous. I wasn't paying attention is the last thing you want to hear from somebody behind the wheel. You have every right to speak up if you don't feel safe about getting in. And we all agree that you do. Absolutely. Have the right to do that. Is how you do that. Your friends might have been embarrassed, but minimized it as funny is wild. It's only funny no one got hurt. This could have been really bad. Better safe than sorry. You trusted your gut. Good on you. And like I said, okay, extreme defamation, external, whatever the name is on here. Look, she is the A. All right, whatever you seem to think on this, she's the A. Because, yes, she should have trusted her gut, and they did all of that. But when you continue to push the issue after somebody apologizes, it makes you the asshole. Period. End of story. There is no more after that, right? So you can come out and be like, yeah, well, the story of it is, well, someone could have done this, and their friends made it feel funny. Well, because the friends have actual feelings and said to themselves like, yo, look, you ain't supposed to be treating people like that. Let's see. You're not the A. It says you're the A. You just actually seem like an asshole and looking to be right. These drivers are usually flagged to stopped by security, so could have been partly on them too. Not the A for being upset. You aren't the asshole for being upset, right? But ridiculous to not just continue the ride afterwards. Everyone makes mistakes, you included. Literally every taxi driver is going to have things like this happen to them once in a while. Expecting perfection from everyone is unrealistic. For you, all you know is he could have been 20 times more safer of a driver when actually on the roads in actually at actual dangerous speeds than the next one that you went with. The next one just didn't make a very minor mistake in the parking lot / picking you up area to spook you out. If the guy was a dick about it, that would have been more understandable, but he apologized and he admitted that he was wrong. Not everyone does that. The driver gets an L here for sure for the spacing out, even if it's a low risk, basically zero speed situation, which we know it is. I mean, you barely pulled off. He should have had made sure everyone was in before taking the car out of park. But even the best taxi drivers in the world are going to have this happen occasionally. So if you can't handle other humans being other humans and losing concentration or making mistakes, then, well, you should basically drive your own self. I agree with you there, Havoc. And I agree that she's not an ass for being upset. Like I said on a couple occasions now, you're an ass for how you dealt with the situation after the apology, period. Screaming at him doesn't solve anything. And you wouldn't have died in a car crash. He wasn't even moving. that fast. He wasn't even moving barely, period. You said he went 20 centimeters, okay? That's not even a ruler. It was an accident. He apologized, but you screamed at him anyway. Even your friends disagreed with you in how you treated him and told you were being mean. So, guess what? You're the ass. Ta-da! Now, oh, they did have some edits in there. Oh, we ain't even gonna go through that. We're not even gonna go through that. Some other people, based off your friends telling you to chill, I'm assuming you're normally dramatic. You weren't even the one at risk of the injury, and you were making the biggest deal of it. That's right. Your friends told you to cut that out. It's called a human error. It happens daily. So yeah, you the ass. Hey, with that being said, we're gonna let you go ahead and enjoy the day. But what I need you to do is keep that head on the swivel, you see? Because if people are pulling their cars out of park, and you trying to cross the street, you better be watching. Because like I tell you all the time, not everybody out there has your best interest at hand. So do yourself the favor and keep that head on the swivel. All right, and enjoy the day. Peace out.